Colts likely to face deadly trio in Week 1. The Indianapolis Colts are on track to face a prominent three-pronged attack from the Miami Dolphins. The Indianapolis Colts must be at the top of their game in 6 days against the Miami Dolphins. In order to effectively defend Lucas Oil Stadium against the AFC East squad, they'll need to stop the strong offense led by Dolphins head coach Mike McDaniel. The Dolphins were dealing with what appeared to be setbacks to some of their top weapons, but after an update on the statuses of running back Devon Achane, wide receiver Tyreek Hill, and tight end Darren Waller, it appears Indy will likely face off against these talents in Week 1. Lou Anarumo now leads Indianapolis defense and will be tasked with stopping this trio on Sunday afternoon. Starting with Achane, he's been a great player out of Miami's backfield and continued this in 2024 despite injuries at the QB spot. Achane logged 203 carries for 907 rushing yards and 6 rushing touchdowns. But it's Achane's receiving ability out of the backfield that truly stands out, hauling in 78 catches for 592 receiving yards, 30 first downs, and 6 more scores through the air. Indianapolis' run defense looked suspect during the preseason, so it must be better to quell Achane from making a big impact. As for Hill, he's one of the deadliest pass catchers in the NFL and will be followed by the new top cornerback for the Colts, Charvarius Ward. Hill had a down season by his standards but dealt with a rough QB situation. He caught 81 passes for 959 receiving yards and 6 touchdowns. Expect the Dolphins to look Hill's way plenty, especially with his counterpart Jalen Waddle on the field, forming arguably the top WR duo in the league. Lastly, Waller returns to action after being retired for the entire 2024 campaign. Before taking time away from the league, Waller was one of the top pass catchers at the tight end position for a few seasons. After a slow start to his career, Waller caught on fire for the Las Vegas Raiders, putting up a large volume of catches in 2019, 90, and 2020, 107. It's hard to tell how Waller will play after appearing to regress after the 2020 campaign, but he's surrounded by a strong offensive unit led by quarterback Tua Tagovailoa. Indy's linebackers and slot cornerback Kenny Moore, too, could see plenty of Waller should McDaniel favor the pass more than the run. The Dolphins' offense can decimate any NFL defense on any given game day, and the Colts fully understand this contender's capabilities with Tagovailoa under center. These 3 players, along with Waddle, can't be allowed to get off to a hot start, or it could prove difficult for Shane Steichen's offense to keep up with how much the scheme leans on a ground attack. Indianapolis defends home turf against the Dolphins on September 7th at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All eyes will be on the quarterback Daniel Jones and how he performs in his first game leading the Colts. But don't overlook the importance of this defense, especially against an offense-centric team like the Dolphins. The Indianapolis Colts spent the offseason talking about growth, patience, and the future. Yet as Week 1 of the NFL season approaches, the narrative has shifted from what they will bring to the field to the challenge of who they must immediately line up against. A terrifying trio that could shred even the most disciplined defense. In football, sometimes the schedule is the ultimate opponent. And in this case, the Colts' young roster, still learning under head coach Shane Steichen, might face a nightmare in the form of 3 stars who perfectly complement one another. A quarterback who sees the field like a chessboard, a wide receiver who can turn a slant into a 70-yard touchdown, and a running back who runs with both speed and menace. This deadly trio has been making headlines across the offseason, and if the reports hold true, they'll all be healthy and ready for Week 1. The trio that haunts defensive coordinators. Every great NFL storyline has its villains, and for the Colts, this trio is shaping up to be theirs. The quarterback, the maestro. He doesn't just throw the ball, he commands an orchestra of chaos. With the flick of a wrist, he can drop a pass into the tightest windows. His ability to extend plays means no coverage scheme feels safe. When you think you've got him pinned, he escapes and delivers a dagger. The wide receiver, the lightning bolt. He's not just fast, he's deceptively fast. Corners can jam him at the line, but once he finds daylight, the secondary is toast. He stretches the field vertically, forcing safeties to retreat and leaving space underneath for his teammates to thrive. On film, you see defenders backpedal in panic before the ball is even snapped. The running back, the sledgehammer. Where one relies on finesse and precision, this one thrives on violence. He hits the hole like a freight train, punishes linebackers with stiff arms, and wears down a defense with every carry. By the fourth quarter, tackling him feels like trying to stop a boulder rolling downhill. Together, they're a nightmare cocktail: brains, speed, and brute force. What this means for the Colts defense. The Colts are no strangers to adversity. Last season, their defense showed flashes of resilience, led by DeForest Buckner up front and an aggressive young secondary. But Week 1 is about testing limits, and this trio threatens to expose every crack. 1. Containment nightmares. If the Colts send extra rushers, the quarterback can exploit single coverage. If they drop back into zone, the wide receiver will feast on soft spots. 2. Double trouble. Assigning double coverage to the receiver seems logical, but that leaves the running back facing lighter boxes. Stopping him requires bodies in the trenches, but that means fewer reinforcements deep. 3. Energy drain. The psychological toll of playing against 3 stars is real. By halftime, defenses often find themselves second-guessing. Blitz or sit back. Press or retreat. That hesitation is exactly what great offenses thrive on. For a Colts team that still leans on youth, the challenge isn't just physical, it's mental. The Colts counterpunch. Of course, football isn't scripted. The Colts have weapons of their own, and Anthony Richardson enters year 2 with the kind of confidence that only raw potential mixed with NFL seasoning can bring. His dual-threat ability could turn this supposed mismatch into a shootout. The defensive key. Gus Bradley's unit will likely focus on disrupting rhythm. That means forcing the quarterback off his first read, making him uncomfortable, and ensuring the receiver never gets a clean release. They'll need Buckner, Kwity Paye, and the defensive line to win in the trenches without requiring constant blitzing. The offensive answer. If the Colts offense can control time of possession, keeping the deadly trio watching from the sideline, they can tilt the game in their favor. Jonathan Taylor pounding the ball, Richardson making plays with his legs, and Michael Pittman Jr. stretching the field will be essential. The emotional edge. Week 1 is often full of surprises. The Colts could lean into their role as underdogs, playing with nothing to lose while the opposition faces the burden of high expectations.